So lately I've been posting a lot of my concert content on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, specifically my stuff from the Ariana Grande Sweetener World Tour. And I kind of went viral on TikTok, and I've been getting asked a lot of questions in my comments about ticket buying, ticket planning, concert stuff in general. So I figured I would come on YouTube and create a Q&A video answering all my most asked questions, so here we go. Let's start off talking about tickets. So a lot of people had asked me what the price range was for tickets last tour at the Sweetener World Tour, and obviously it varied based on the type of ticket you bought, the location of your show, and what leg. So from what I had seen for the US shows, the tickets varied anywhere between $75 to $1,200, and obviously $75 was the cheapest ticket available, and $1,200 were the meet and greet packages. Obviously, in Europe, the prices were different. I had gone to a couple of Europe shows, and the tickets were like pretty much half the price of the US shows. Another ticket-related question I was asked a lot was, how early do I go online to purchase my tickets? So most ticket sites nowadays have something called a queue, which is basically an online waiting room where you wait until the ticket purchasing begins, and it's basically you're given a number online to wait your turn until you can actually purchase the tickets. So I always say to go onto the ticket page as early as you can, and the second that they say the waiting room is open, you join, and do not leave the page and do not refresh because you will lose your place in line. VIP packages are very limited, so they sell out very, very quickly, usually within minutes. Maybe an hour max. Some shows could last a day or two depending on the location, but usually they sell out the day that they go on sale. However, when it comes to regular tickets, venues never put up all of the tickets at once. Usually a week or a few days or day of show, you could get seats in the pit or right outside of the catwalk, floor, whatever. I have gone to shows where I bought tickets last minute and they were the best seats I've ever had. So that's also a thing. So if you don't see the ticket you want right away, you can always wait and keep checking the ticket sites. So now let's talk about VIP. So a lot of people were asking me if I had any tips or advice when it comes to the soundcheck experience, the meet and greet experience, the VIP experience in general. So when it comes to the soundcheck part, you play games, do a Q&A, and sometimes even learn some dances with her dancers. So the Q&A situation, for the shows that I went to, some of them, everyone was able to put a question in the box, and for some shows, only the first 10 to 15 people were able to put in questions into the box. So if that's something you really want to do, make sure you get to the venue as early as you can so that if they do limit questions, you could be one of those people that has the opportunity to get your question asked. So after the Q&A segment, you play some games. So one of the games was Guess the Song, and basically Scott and Brian would play a millisecond of one of her songs, and if you got called on and you got the song correct, you would win a piece of merch. And then the other game that was played was Kiss, Marry, Unfollow, and basically she would give you 3 songs, 3 albums, or 3 music videos, and you'd have to say which you would kiss, which you would marry, and which one you would unfollow. There was no right or wrong answer per se, but you could possibly be judged for the answer you gave. And then my advice, if you want to be chosen to be a part of the games, is to be outgoing, jump up and down, make yourself known, because that's really the only way you could get picked. But that's pretty much the whole soundcheck experience. It's so much fun. It's about 15-20 minutes. You really get to interact with her team. So now let's talk about meet and greet. A lot of people have been asking me if I have any tips or advice on how to get the best meet and greet experience possible. So I'm going to share what's worked for me, what's worked for my friends, and what has worked for people that I met in line. So my number one tip is, when you walk into that meet and greet room, you need to be talking. Whether you're saying your name, or I love you, or my favorite song is, or even I have something to say. Because the number one thing that happens to people when they go into the meet and greet room is they go blank because they had this whole speech memorized and they were so focused on memorizing the speech that they just completely forgot it and went blank. So it's super important that you give the artist something to work off of, because most of the time they've never met you before. So the only thing they know about you is that you're a fan of theirs. So once you start the conversation, she can feed off of that energy and the words that you gave her and keep the conversation going. As long as you talk, she will make sure you get to say everything you want to say. Most of the time, they usually cut you off because you're talking so much and she's enjoying the conversation, so she wants to keep talking with you. I had one meet and greet where she literally followed me out of the booth because we were having such a great conversation. So once you start that conversation, it's going to keep going. So then you don't even have to worry about, oh my God, what am I going to say? Because you're going to have a conversation flowing. My second tip that's super important is do not look at the camera until they tell you it's picture time. Because if you look at the camera, they're going to think, oh, they're ready for the picture. They're done with their conversation. So until you're told, okay, picture time, and they're like literally begging you to stop your conversation so you take your picture and they can move on to the next person, make sure you are just looking at her, nothing else. It's just the two of you. Even if there's other people in the room, it's just the two of you. Because you want to live in that moment. The second you look at the camera or any of the staff, they're going to think, okay, they're done. Time to move on to the next person. So that's a huge thing. That's a really big one. That really helped me because I even talked to her after I had my picture because our conversation was so good. So yeah, those are my two big tips for the meet and greet experience. So now when it comes to the picture, unfortunately, you only get one chance to get your picture taken unless you are going with somebody else and you are either taking their picture or you're taking a picture with them for a second picture. You only get one chance for your photo. So the last tour, I don't know about Dangerous Woman tour because I only met her at Sweetener World Tour. So basically, the camera was in a mirror and it was very hard to see, but I asked because I knew, I was like, I don't know where the camera is. And she like pointed to it. It was in the middle of the top of the mirror. It's very, very bright. There's lots of lights. So you need to make sure you're looking at that mirror, in that camera, in the mirror. Otherwise, your eyes are going to be somewhere else. And you don't even get to look at your picture until it's online. So make sure you know where the camera is and you're looking at it. Unless if your pose doesn't involve you looking in the camera. Just make sure you're looking into the camera so that your picture comes out how you want it to. And when it comes to poses, don't ask for anything ridiculous. Make it something simple that you know she can definitely do or that you know is acceptable, because you don't want to waste time like going back and forth trying to pick a pose. So know what you want if you want a specific pose. If you don't know, you can ask her. I've had friends that went in not sure what they wanted or specifically wanted to ask her what she wanted to do. She will give you options. You don't have to go with what she says. You can say, oh, maybe we should do this. But yeah, if you have a specific pose you want to do, make sure you ask that before they take that picture, because once you take that picture, that's it. You don't get another chance. So another question I got about tickets is, how do I save up? How were you able to save up to go to a lot of shows? So my advice on saving is, it's always important to, whether you get money through allowance or you have a job, to always set aside money. If you get allowance and you don't have a bank account, maybe create a jar where it's a tour fund and you put in X amount of money every time you get your allowance. So you know, okay, each week I'm going to put in like $10, whatever it is, and you have that set. So when it's time to buy tickets, you can buy them. And if you have a job, you most likely have a bank account, so you can create a savings where you put X amount of money every paycheck to go towards tickets so that you have the money in time when the concert is announced. Another question people asked me is, how were you able to plan out which shows you were going to? How did you plan out the itinerary for everything? So I will let you know that the spreadsheet was my lifesaver. So I created a spreadsheet. It had the show date, the show location, if I needed a hotel, if I needed flights, how much the tickets were going to be, and then it had like a bar for the total, so that I could keep track of the spending. So, because that's important, because when you're traveling, you need to know how much money you need after the money you spent on the traveling expenses, because you need to have money for food, Ubers or car rentals or whatever you're going to need while you're actually at the location. And then I also created a spreadsheet for my family that had my flight information, my hotel information, or if I was staying with friends, because it's super important to let people in your life know where you are, just in case, because you never know. So when it comes to planning which shows I go to, I'm very lucky because I live in New York. So she always does a handful of shows here, and I almost always go to every single show in the area, depending on my work schedule or if I have vacations already planned. Last tour, I went to every single New York show except for one because I was out of town. And then when it comes to other shows, I will travel to where I have friends, and also my friends will come to me. And sometimes we will travel together to places that aren't where we live. I also had the opportunity to go to Europe. I have family there, so I kind of made a trip out of it. And I also got to see friends of mine that I had never met before and I had known for 3+ years. So that was a very, very cool experience. So my advice, if you're trying to go to one show or more than one show, or if you want to just travel for a show, it's super important when the dates drop to see what your options are. If there's anything in your area, or if you need to travel, see what your options are. And check out flights, check out driving distances, check out hotels, check out if you have friends that are willing to let you stay with them, or friends that want to travel to new places. It's just really, really important to plan stuff out ahead of time before tickets go on sale so that you have your best chances possible. So yeah, I mean, I always think it's cool to travel for shows because I always love exploring new places when I go to concerts. It's not just about the concerts for me. I was able to meet friends that I'd never met before, and being able to see her in concert with the people that I met because of her was such a cool experience. The question I got asked is, what do I wear to the show and what do I bring? So my advice is to always dress as comfortable as possible. It's okay to want to look cute. That's totally acceptable, especially if you have some sort of VIP, because you know you're going to be taking a lot of pictures and you're also possibly going to be meeting her, so you want to look your best. I wore a skirt to one of my meet and greets and I kind of regretted it. Like, I looked cute and she complimented me, but it was kind of hard to jump up and down during the show because I was wearing a pencil skirt. So I always think it's important to wear comfy clothing, whether it's leggings or jeans. I always also suggest to wear short sleeves or no sleeves because it gets very, very hot in the venue and you don't want to pass out. So merch is usually the go-to for me if I don't have meet and greet because it's always a comfortable option. So now let's talk about what to bring to the venue. So for her tour, she had specific bag requests. All bags had to be clear and a certain measurement in size. Some venues had other rules on top of that, on what you could and couldn't bring. So I always recommend reading emails, going on the venue website to see what rules are being imposed for those specific concerts, because it does vary by artist sometimes. So I always say bring the least amount of things possible. Obviously, if you have medication or inhalers or anything of these sorts, to bring it. Some venues require a doctor's note, so just in case, always have one on hand. But if you don't have to bring a bag, it's always great to not have to bring one because that's less stuff to have on you, less stuff to worry about. So another show day question I get asked a lot is, how early should I arrive to the venue? So this answer will vary by person based on the type of ticket they have. So if you have pit, I know a lot of people really want to secure a barricade spot, and if that's the case for you, you can show up a couple hours early. If you live in a major city, people are going to show up really early. I saw last tour people even camped out, which in all honesty is really not necessary. There's really no bad spot in pit. Some shows, like the ones in New York City, I did show up a couple hours early and people were there in the morning. If you want to make sure you get a barricade spot, I always recommend going a couple hours early. If you have a assigned seat ticket, there's really no need for you to show up before doors. You can show up to doors right when doors open. If you want to hang out with friends, you can always show up early. I did that for some shows, but there is no need to show up early because you have an assigned seat and you will not lose that seat because that is your ticket. When it comes to VIP, you will receive an email that has the time that you need to arrive to the venue in order to make it in time for check-in. If you show up after that time, you could possibly miss some of the parts of the VIP experience. When I had VIP, I didn't really show up too much earlier to the time slot that was given in the email. If you want to hang out with friends or if you're a little bit nervous, you can always show up a little bit early. But as long as you are there by that time slot that's given to you, you will be okay. I know a lot of Ariana fans are high school age or older, around her age. But there are some fans that are younger. I had been asked by a few fans on TikTok asking, how do I convince my parents to let me go see her in concert next tour? Obviously, I can't give an exact answer that'll work for all parents because not all parents are the same. I was lucky and my parents loved concerts. They love that I go to concerts now. But I think the best advice I can give is to let them know how important going to this concert is for you. Maybe make a PowerPoint or a presentation letting them know why you want to go to the concert and why they should let you. If you get an allowance, you can maybe do some extra chores. But yeah, that's the best advice I can give, letting them know how important this concert is to you. So I know not everyone is lucky enough to have a friend that likes the same artist as them. So I know there are people out there like, oh, I really want to go see Ariana in concert, but I don't have any friends to go with. And my advice is definitely go to the show. Don't let that hold you back from going to the concert. I met most of my concert friends that I go to concerts with now at shows when I went by myself, waiting in line, at meet and greet, sound check, in the line to go to the venue, or at my seat. Even at Sweetener World Tour, I had some shows where I went by myself because my friends and I couldn't all get tickets together, or the one show that I worked head count for, we had tickets by ourselves, and I still had the best time whether I was alone or with a whole group of friends. So definitely do not let that hold you back because you could possibly be meeting your best friend at that concert you didn't want to go to because you didn't want to go alone. I had someone ask me for advice for a first-time concert goer. We've all been there. My first concert was when I was 12. I went to the Hannah Montana concert and I had to go alone because we weren't able to get enough tickets for my entire family because it was the Hunger Games trying to get tickets for that tour, and I had the best time. I was dancing, I was singing, I was all the way in the nosebleeds, and I still had the best time of my life. It does not matter where your seat is. You will enjoy the show no matter what your view is. So most people know me because of my videos and photos that I took at the Sweetener World Tour, so a lot of people are asking me, how did you get such good quality content? And honestly, I have to give most of the credit to my phone. Most of the shows I had the 11 Pro Max, so it has the 3 cameras, so that quality is amazing. If you saw me at a show, you'd be so confused as to how my videos were not shaky because I was always jumping up and down, dancing, singing, screaming, having my best time, living my best life. I never looked at my phone while I was videoing, so that's even crazier to me as to how good quality my stuff came out because usually at the end of the night when I would go back and look at my pictures, I'd be like, yeah, this stuff is not going to be good. But my only advice if you are interested in getting good quality videos is to always have your camera set at the highest setting. It varies by phone. But if you don't want to take up too much storage on your phone or if you don't have enough storage on your phone, you can go a setting down from the highest one. But try not to focus too much about getting videos and pictures at a high quality. No matter what your videos look like at the end of the show, it's going to be a great memory for you. For me, I at some shows, I even video chatted some of my friends because I had seen the show a bunch, so I wanted to give people who weren't able to see the show a chance, and also that's why I took some videos at most shows because I wanted people to get the feeling like they were at the show even though they didn't get the chance to be at the show. But yeah, like just live in the moment, enjoy the show, live your best life because concerts are the greatest time. So that was all the questions I got asked from my Instagram and TikTok. If I didn't get to your question for some reason, or if you came up with another question while watching this video, feel free to leave that in the comments below. If you have any other video ideas for me, you can also leave those in the comments below. I hope this video helped you. I know that we probably won't be having concerts for a while now, but I wanted to make this video because I was receiving a lot of questions and it's kind of hard to answer them in the comments because there's limited amount of space to reply to you guys. But that's it for now. So thanks for watching and thanks for all the support.